And then, by the way, Mark just had appendicitis and had his appendix taken out like 3 hours ago.
No. Last Saturday.
He was on death's bed like 2 hours ago. Okay. Oh, you already started?
Yeah.
Are you playing anything?
It's live now.
Well, I think it was live when I was just talking the whole time. So, are you? Do you have anything up there you want to show?
I don't have anything.
Hey guys, thanks again for joining us. This is episode 14. Who would have funked it? Episode 14 of StormCrow, Dreamers Talking to Dreamers. Of course, you know my co-host Mark Potter. Then of course Lola. And we have some great guests tonight. We took last week off. We had some stuff we had to deal with Blade and Blood. And then Mark almost died. Not only
I wouldn't put it that far.
Not only did he have appendicitis and he had his appendix taken out, but then he was literally run over by a bus of 30 dwarves.
Wow.
Dude, oh my God. It was just, they had an assassin contract out for him, and literally they chose a bus as the lethal weapon of choice. And he luckily survived it all. So he's
okay.
We won't even mention the ninjas that are waiting outside his house right now in the bushes.
Wow.
Okay, we have a great show tonight. We have a great show next week as well. But we'll start this one off. Who do you want to bring in first?
Let's go ahead and bring in Amy McCorkle.
Okay, Amy McCorkle is a wonderful lady, great, very talented, very skilled, and extremely passionate and committed. She deals with a lot of her own personal challenges, but she has won a crap ton of awards as a writer, as a filmmaker. She's got her first major feature, I think, coming up, and has done a lot of amazing things in a short amount of time. So please welcome Amy McCorkle. And you'll have to forgive Mark. He did escape the bus, but one of them shot him with a poison dart. And it's a long-lasting, slow-moving poison that kind of slows him. Okay. Anyway, hello, Amy.
Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm sorry, I'm having a little fun at my co-host's expense. Yeah. He's good like that, though. Okay, let's bring in our other guest. Ethan Rogers is a guy I've known for about, probably since 1996. We were both in the poetry scene. He was more of a open mic kind of poet, and I did that too. I did slam though as well, and he wasn't really into slams too much. But he's also a brilliant actor. He served in the military, like you, Mark. He did his service to our country. And now he's in Oregon, and his big focus is acting right now. I think he's done recently a few stage plays, and he's auditioning for some stuff. So let's bring in Ethan Rogers. Wow, Ethan, you look amazing, man. It almost looks like an eyeball. Is that a new hairstyle? Hey, Ethan.
Hey, what's up?
Hey. I'll have to be aware of Ethan. Sometimes he thinks in live interviews facial expressions are like in his own form of sign language instead of actually speaking. So it's good. And he's got the dude, like when I knew
you know what it is? I'll tell you, there's a slight time delay
And so
Oh,
I don't
okay.
want to jump on anybody. So I just kind of wait.
You're hearing a delay?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, okay, interesting. That's the problem. You know, I love that our show is live and we're going live with people all over the world. We had one lady in England, we had all that stuff, but you're going to deal with technical difficulties when you try to do that. I mean, that's exactly, you know, so that's the trade-off with what we're doing.
Right.
It's good to see you, Ethan. This is the first time I think I've seen you live in like 15 years.
It's been a long time. I was thinking about it. I think it was probably right before I went up to Northern California to go to school.
Yeah, and then I think I like 2000, I think, to Seattle.
Yeah, like right around like 2000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we're gonna do here is we're gonna get going. I'm gonna start with Amy. Amy, what is a project you are currently working on that you're supremely passionate about that's exciting you?
Letters to Daniel.
This is based on Twitter, right?
Yeah, it's based on my life. It's based on a screenplay. It was a blog. I wrote a memoir. I did a documentary, proof of concept, and then me and my writing partner adapted the screenplay from the book. And it's about our friendship, and it takes place over the course of 15 years, and it shows me going from breakdown and her dealing with it, and me climbing my way back up and finding success through creative endeavors.
Very beautiful, man. I mean, that's what all of life is about, but particularly an artist's life, because an artist's life is mental or anything else is a constant challenge. It's a constant naysayers, haters. No.
I dealt with bipolar disorder. None of that bothers me.
Yeah, but you have to keep stepping up and keep going.
Yeah.
You know, like the people that are most successful are the ones that probably failed the most and still kept walking.
Yeah, I was 24 when I was diagnosed, and it took until I was 35 years old to get my first publication contract with a small press. And starting there, in that year, in 2011, I got 3 contracts by the end of the year for 3 books I had written. And it's just been a steady. I've had bad experiences with local people saying, "Oh, I'm an agent and I can do things for your career." And
yeah, we all deal with that, Amy.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one place, only one of them. Like I said, I don't feel too bad about 2 of them, but one of them was a really toxic situation. There were a lot of head games involved, and it was just really bad.
Unfortunately, it is a norm, Aim. Like I've had people try to steal my scripts that were supposedly my friends. I've had like so much of that crap going on. Or I remember I had one lady once who I had never actually even looked at her writing, and she said one of my short films I stole from like her cousin or something like that. I'm like going, I've never even read your writing, and I don't even know who your cousin is. But okay, you know what I mean? So
it was that. Well, it all happened in a compressed time period, like 9 days out from production. The first time for Letters to Daniel, the producers backed out at like the 11th hour. And I know people go through that stuff, but when I'm dealing with, I was hanging on my fingernails emotionally. I wasn't doing well with my bipolar disorder. And when they backed out, it was like I was relieved, but I was devastated at the same time. And so it took me a while to come back from that. And I had people come into my life and take advantage of my vulnerability. It was a big struggle. And that was the first half. That was like the last of 2015 and the first half of 2016. But what a great thing happened was that I discovered AOF also in that first half of 2016. And I entered the proof of concept.
Yeah, Dell and them, yeah.
Yeah, and they're just beautiful people.
We just had Dell like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I popped in. I came to the show.
Yeah,
so
on his watch party. He was doing his watch party.
Yeah. I love Dell and Teresa. They have been major.
Yeah, they're beautiful spirits.
Yeah,
Not only they were the reason I got put on the radar, but a reason like you and many others got put on the radar is through them.
yeah. And they encouraged me to keep that, just that love and appreciation for my work. It in a way it helped heal that process that I had gone through the first half of 2016, and it gave me energy to keep pushing on Letters to Daniel and not let the film project lie.
Believe me, it's the same thing with Blade and Blood. You got to just keep pushing. You just got to keep
Yep.
pushing. It's features are a beast and a half to make happen, and you just got to have faith in your own stuff.
Yeah, I'm filming in June.
Yeah. So I hear you. Now, I'm gonna jump back to you in 2 seconds, but I wanna real quick, Ethan, what are you currently working on or soon to be working on that's passionate? I know you've been doing a lot of auditioning.
Yeah, a lot of auditioning lately. I got another audition coming up on the 29th. It's the Portland Area Theater Alliance. And it's really cool, the little thing they did here in Portland. And they bring all the actors in and give them all 2 minutes in front of all the casting directors from all the different companies in the area on one day.
2-minute monologue in front of.
Yeah, you just
Okay.
So like there's 15, 20 casting directors for all the different theater companies, and they're casting for their entire season. And so they go in and
for like a couple years, right?
What's that?
I lived in Portland for a couple years.
Yeah.
Southwest, over on 14th Street, and I think Hawthorne.
That's Hawthorne's a good neighborhood. I like it. What's that?
By the Belmont Inn.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, Portland's a good city. I mean, I didn't have a car when I lived there. It's kind of a pain in the rear if you don't have a car in Portland. It's kind of a good between the weather.
Where you live.
Yeah.
It's everybody rides a bike. If you live kind of in the downtown area,
yeah, if you're
downtown,
downtown,
okay. If you live in the suburbs, unless you live right on the Max line, you're kind of good. But
yeah, I hear you. So how have you just got back into this, right? I know you acted.
Yeah, I've actually been out of this for a while. I was down in LA for a long time and moved up here maybe 10 years ago. Little family thing, was kind of helping out with some family stuff, and so kind of ended up moving up here.
North Texas, I hear you.
Yeah. We've had some similar kind of, where, because I know when you moved up to Seattle too, that was kind of a family move as well.
Well, I was trying to be closer to them, but I was in Seattle. They were like an hour and a half, 2 hours away. When I moved to North Texas, it was literally to live with my mom and help her. Yeah, but I hear you. But family, you got to help, man. I mean, that comes.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
yeah. Have you learned in these auditions to come a little more from the hip?
Yeah.
Instead of your normal over. Ethan's a very talented guy in whatever he does, but his brain is like a computer. It is like so over analytical. You break, which is good. That's a good trait to have.
It can be, but you know what? You can get was that analysis paralysis. Where you overthink things, you got too many choices going on in your head, and that can happen to me a lot.
Yeah, that's why I always say sometimes you maybe try to come a little more from the hip every once in a while. Just go and do it without the analyzation.
Yeah. I try to. I don't know. I think one of my issues probably is maybe I try to do that a little too much. I try to go from the hip a little too much to compensate for my analytical nature. And maybe that kind of doesn't send across the image that I necessarily want to. And I'm just kind of starting to figure that out a little bit.
Yeah, mix the two as opposed to one extreme to the other.
Yeah, it comes off as aloof or uncaring. It can.
Ethan, aloof.
Not me. I don't know.
Okay, Amy, what is now let's get back to letters of Daniel. Where are you at in that process? Are you close to starting shooting, or are you already shooting?
Okay, so we've locked down all the locations. The food budget is taken care of. 42 of the 44 members of the cast are cast. We are down to the lead roles, and the callbacks for that are this Saturday. Now I have some of me and Missy are casting together, so we made a deal. Whoever's playing me, I've got the final say. Whoever's saying Missy, she's got the final say, but we've got to be at least in agreement on if they are good together. And we're pairing up actresses to see where they are with chemistry, because literally the film has 44 cast members, but a majority of the film is on Amy and Missy's shoulders. If they can't do it, we're not going to have a movie.
Well, and it's not like 30 years ago when you made stuff like Star Wars, where literally it took 2 years or a year and a half to shoot something, or a year to shoot something, where you had a lot of time for actors to like form chemistry on set. Nowadays, it's like wham, bam, like you show up on set, we got to shoot all your stuff, and we got to be done in like a month, or whatever it is.
6 weeks, 9 weeks.
Whatever it is. Yeah, so it's like they literally have to just have natural, out of the gate chemistry. Otherwise, it doesn't really.
Yeah. I've seen 2 actresses I really, really like. And there's another set of girls that are pretty talented. And then, but there's 8 finalists. So we have 4.
Directing this?
What?
Are you directing this?
Yes, me and Missy are directing it together. And our DP is Mark Manis, and he has a lot of experience as a DP and a director. So I felt like for such a major project where there's multiple locations, like a hotel and a movie theater and restaurant, and really, I just wanted someone who knew what they were doing, could make my film. I knew what I needed to do to make my film look its best and be its best. I needed people on my team who were also that quality.
No, it's the same thing with Blade and Blood. Like I'm all my shorts, I'm very hands-on, lighting, and all that stuff. But in something that big like Blade and Blood, or like Letters of Daniel, you got to bring in, because it's way bigger than a short. It's way more crew, way more things going.
Massive
bring
collaboration.
You got to bring someone that's skilled. Like I'll have to have because we're doing noir Sin City look. I have to have a very highly skilled gaffer and GP with a lot of experience in that role. So I get it. When you're doing a feature, you've got to have people around you, especially when it's your first feature, that are highly experienced in that role, especially the DP.
He produces a show. I mean, he's been at it since 1986. I've been at it since 2014. So as far as making films, because that's when I made my first film, Letters to Daniel, the proof of concept documentary. I'm
sure it'll be amazing. The key is just getting it out of the gate. That's the hardest part.
Yeah. I'm really excited because I can feel the buzz around this project. I've actually teamed up. There's several.
Yeah, we have quite a number of AOF people.
Yes. Mark is an AOF person.
Yeah.
And Clint Gage, who has.
Hey, real quick, JD, that AOF, that's Action on Film. That's that.
Action on Film Festival. Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to check because I heard you drop that name a couple of times.
Yeah, it's probably the biggest. It is the biggest festival in Vegas because now it encompasses something like 15 festivals all underneath its umbrella. So it's pretty huge.
Nice.
And when it was in LA, it was the second biggest festival in LA based on number of people attending all week long.
I go every year, even though it's hard. I mean, I'm on disability, So it's a matter of there's two things I could do this year. I could go to AOF and I could make letters to Daniel. So those were the two things I geared for. And I'm also, there's two other smaller festivals that I go to that are also good. And
yeah, I haven't been able to go for a few years simply because of that, because my fiscals, I can't afford to.
Yeah, it's like
when I was in LA, that was easy because literally it's right there when it was in there.
Yeah.
But like, you know, the getting a hotel, taking care of your food, drink for 4, 5, 6 days.
Yes.
That's a big expenditure.
It's like you can the conundrum that I was faced with was you can make the movie or you can go to the festivals, but you have to have the movie to go to the festival.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, and that's another thing. Unless I want to submit writing, I've been not shooting shorts for the last year and a half, 2 years, because I've been focused on Blade and Blood. So
yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, I hear you. But now let's drop back over, and then I'll come back again. Let's drop over to Ethan. What upcoming? Do you have any projects besides the showcase you mentioned? Do you have a project that you have an audition for upcoming that you're really amped about that you'd like to be a part of?
No, I mean, my passion project is this kind of post-apocalyptic, medieval, religious thing.
That you wrote, or
yeah. Well, I'm working on it. It's so when I was at school, I did this thing with this guy named Stan Lai, who is the like Taiwanese Steven Spielberg. Like he's huge over there. And we did this program based on what's called the Amsterdam work teeter technique. And basically it's like you have a writer, but a writer, W-R-I-G-H-T, like to bend and shape out of a pre-existing material kind of right, like a shipwright or a wheelwright, that kind of writer, right? And so what they do is they give a scene or that character, and here's what needs to happen. Now make this happen. And then people write down what these actors kind of improv, and then they build the script off of that. And so everything that the actor,
your thing is going in and out.
Oh, it is. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's going in and out. So we're catching a lot of that, but I'm going to summarize because I think I got what you're saying. So he's basically creating a scene without dialogue or whatever, and then he's saying this is what's got to happen, and then you guys are going in and improving to create that end goal that he gave you.
Right. And then the script is built off of those improvisations so that the final script is actually the actors kind of speaking in their own words.
Gotcha. You know who does that a lot is Apatow.
Yeah.
So Judd Apatow, which has worked for him when he has really skilled actors that are also writers, like Seth Rogen, stuff along those lines. Because those guys are writers and they're very creative and they have that mentality, so they can come up with good stuff. When he had those people, like I think the sequel to 40-something.
And there's a lot of that, consideration going on in there, and doing some, hybrid stuff where some of the smaller parts that are less integral kind of just get written, and some of the bigger parts for the more, the actors that are kind of, have the chops for it. I've got a couple people in mind. I like writing for people,
So what you're trying to say is you're going to try to use this schematic or thematic that this guy and you did together on your post-apocalyptic film. You're not going to write it all out. You're going to write more like the base bones of the story. Where
it'll have a, I've got a pretty solid structure already from beginning all the way, probably about 3/4 of the way through it. I want to do a web series. I originally thought about doing a movie, which it may, turn into something like that at some point. But
But
my
it's
main
easier to
thrust
piece
right
it
now
out
is
into
wanting to
web
do it.
series. It's easier to piece it out into a web series fiscally.
Yeah,
And coordinating scheduling and all that stuff. If you piece it out,
yeah,
right out.
exactly.
Yeah.
And the whole thing takes place here in Portland, the Pacific Northwest, kind of like out in the woods anyway. So the budget for, at least for locations and whatnot, is pretty low. It's just a matter of getting the right actors involved and kind of bringing the whole vision into fruition.
I hear you. It's always hard. Even short films are hard. They're not, none of that's easy, especially if you like. I always wanted to pay everybody. Maybe it won't be a lot, but try to give them something,
Right.
compensation. I think the first couple I did, I couldn't, so I paid the crew. It was either pay the crew or pay the cast. The cast is getting something out of it. It's going to festivals. It's showcasing them. Where the crew's not getting that out of it. The crew's like getting whatever they got paid for it. But then after I think fourth or fifth short, then from then on everyone got paid. Not a lot, but whatever I could afford. So yeah, it's always difficult.
It's such a collaborative art. I mean, you can't do it on your own. You have to have
I would say film is a team
into
sport.
your vision.
Yeah, film is a team sport. Okay, so Amy, I'm gonna come back to you, and then now. So do you guys have a set date yet as far as when you're going to start shooting? Have you sat down with your DP and gone over all that kind of stuff?
Okay, we've set the date. It's in June. We're going to film in June. And we are trying to coordinate our schedules so we can meet with our DP, so we can sit down with breaking down shot lists and doing things like that.
You're not in the same area, state?
No, but we would be
Skype or something like that.
Yeah, we're going to Skype or Google Hangout, something like that. And I have a script supervisor. I've been in constant contact with all my AD, people, my sound person. My composer is already. I've worked with him. I discovered him through Indie Gathering, and he did the score for my documentary Black Gold, The Trail to Standing Rock, and he ended up winning runner-up. And I thought to get an award for a score for a documentary with all those films there, I was so excited for him because I was happy for the film, and he's just a brilliant guy. His name is Valio Genov, and he's from Bulgaria. And he's just an amazingly talented individual. So
yeah, there's a lot of beautiful spirits, and you can meet a lot of beautiful spirits through the festival circuit, especially the slightly bigger ones. Now I think a shot list is great and it's awesome. I wouldn't get too hung up on it because usually once you hit set, a lot of that shot list goes right out the window as far as my experiences has shown me. And that's not just shooting my short films. That's me working in
for me
on TV and features.
On the documentaries, I don't have a shot list. I have.
I think as far as fight sequences and stuff like along the lines, if you have stunt type stuff, you got to do that.
We don't have any fights like bust up martial arts. We have intense arguments where you think maybe Missy's a little crazy for standing by her friend. It's just a drama, and the most expensive thing has been, and it's been the most expensive thing has been to nail down locations because but it hasn't been so much that we've been priced out of doing our movie.
Otherwise, you just got to rewrite it and rework it.
Yeah, that's we've been doing that too. So we're really excited because everything is really starting to come together. We did a teaser trailer for it last October, and that recently was nominated for Best Trailer at the Nova Fest, Fernando Mico's festival.
Very beautiful.
And he said it was an intriguing. I had one person who watched it said this touched me 0%. It just totally eviscerated it. And I've had most people say they like it. But I was like, I wasn't worried about what that guy said because he didn't mean it. He didn't present it to me in a malicious way. He literally thought he gave me feedback on what he would have done differently.
Yeah, I mean, constructive criticism is never. I always say, if you don't want to hear the answer, don't ask the question.
Right, and
You know what I mean? Like, like
right. But
because I mean, in today's millennial, like PC eggshell walk world, people.
I have to.
When someone thinks about something, and really all they want to hear is, "You're brilliant, you're amazing, you're blah 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 blah."
You know, I've been told that,
Best
but
thing you
I
can hear,
also,
as long as it's constructive, is criticism.
I like criticism that's constructive.
Yeah, as long as it's constructive.
I have people I send it to whose opinion I respect, and sometimes they like it, and sometimes they don't, and they tell me why, and they tell me what they would have done differently, what they think I could have done differently, and I take it in, and with each film, I get a little bit better. And so,
yeah, even if I disagree with their criticism, as long as it was given in a constructive, trying to help you way.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's fine.
It doesn't like now. It's hard with letters to Daniel. Sometimes I've been like when the book was on Amazon, I literally got this review that was just a straight out attack on me as a person. And I was like, oh, that's terrible.
Well, you're always going to have keyboard. What does Adele call them?
Keyboard warrior. Oh,
yeah. Well, no, I've had my work called everything from pornographic to brilliant. So I know that it's somewhere in between.
I believe me, on my stuff, I've heard the pornographic. And I've heard all sorts of stuff. So yeah, I'm right with you, man.
I'm excited about the team I've assembled for this project, and Dell has been mentoring me along the way on different, I've like a lot of producers.
Well, he knows a lot of production stuff, like stuff you qualify for or tax stuff.
Yeah, and he would tell me avoid the producer. Producers would approach me and they say, "Oh, I love your script," and okay, so how much is your budget? And I would tell them, and they go, "Well, that's not enough for me to work on it." And I you know Dell's opinion on that. So
yeah, but Dell also like I love Dell, and he has a lot of wisdom, a lot of brilliance. Yeah. He also has almost an inability to think he's wrong on anything. So, so it's and you gotta understand, Dell has like access to people that no human being does not have access to. So. And that is true. Producers usually don't. We had to up the budget and add name actors into our budget sheet, Blade and Blood, because the simple fact is producers are not going to grab onto something unless it has enough of a budget for them to get their piece, their cut. You know what I mean?
Right. And I understand that, but I'm not in a place like I live in truly the armpit of the world. I live in Shepherdsville, Kentucky, and my access to big people, to big names, I've been privy to sit down with studio heads, and they like the work, but it's like they tell me it's not a fit. So some people would say,
"You gotta do it how you feel it, man." I mean, like,
yeah, and I'm
budget low and do that and keep control and do so. I mean, you're doing a drama, so it's not like you're doing like giant.
Not like you, where you're doing a Sin City kind of thing, and you have effects and different with the colors.
No, I got you. Yeah.
Yeah, I can
more of a dramatic character study type.
Yeah.
So it's more relying on your dialogue writing and your actors.
And I've been told my strengths are my dialogue and character.
Yeah.
And so actors, like when they get my script, they're usually excited to work on it.
Yeah, and you just have to find actors that have the chops to pull off what you envision.
I think we found them. I just hope me and Missy were like, they really have to lay an egg at this audition to really mess it up, because they were both their individual auditions were beautiful. I thought they knocked it out of the park, and Missy wanted to see them in person, so that's what we're doing, the callback. My instinct would have been to hire them, but meeting them in person will give us a chance to get a feel for how they are as people, because I have cast before and maybe had divas on the set and made the filming not so pleasant in some ways. And I want to, for such a big project, there's going to be bumps along the way because it's a feature and it's low budget. And but I don't want the bumps to come because there's animosity between the actors.
No, I hear you. I did a short once where like my lead actors, after it was a 2-day shoot, after the first day, the second day she tried to hold the film ransom and said pay her more money or she wasn't going to do the rest of the film.
Oh my God.
And I just laughed at her and said, see ya, go.
Yeah, that's what you got to do.
And then like an hour of delay and response, she had gone and locked herself in the bathroom. And then all of a sudden she finally came out and said, well, I'll just do it. And I'm like literally, okay. Then I just threw it and get out of my world as quickly as I could. But it happens. Stuff happens. And you have like all sorts of strange, weird people.
But I've been blessed too. I've worked with some amazing actors for that I've met, and I was privileged to direct one actor named Brandon Bell, and in 2 movies. And my first short film ever, I took it to AOF, and he was nominated for Best Actor, and the cast was nominated for Outstanding Cast Performance in a Short.
Very beautiful.
That really, and the experience on that set was like everybody got along. It was a loving set, and everybody was pushing towards one goal. And I was like, that was just a great experience.
Yeah, and that's a rarity. I think
yes.
the Weak Spot was like that. Everyone got along and everyone was cool. Now, Ethan, see me talking about constructive criticism like we were before. Me and Ethan have so constructively criticized each other sometimes that it turned into a war zone where instead of fighting, we do a really vicious battle of Rochambeau best out of 3.
You know.
And then he nails me with paper every time. Because I always go for that rock.
We used to trade each other's work, and read each other's work.
Yeah.
Because we had different inflections, we use words differently, we have different rhythms, and a lot of times just hearing the other person read in their voice instead of our own, the voice we wrote it in, we're like, okay, now I kind of see what you're talking about. I seem to recall that happening once or twice.
Yeah, I did. And look at you got glasses, man. I'm going to be having glasses. I just did my eye exam. I'll be having my glasses in a week.
Yeah.
The glass wearing guy.
Yeah. They help. What are you going to do?
That was strange to me because I've never even worn sunglasses. I mean, I've never worn glasses my entire existence. So.
Yeah. I forget I have them on now sometimes.
Yeah, that's good. People keep saying contacts, and I'm like, sorry, I'm not going to put something on my eyeball.
Yeah. I don't need them that often. It's just like close up.
Yeah. Except I had to get a reading pair too, and I'm not quite sure the delineation of distance of when I have to wear my reading ones and when I have to wear my normal ones. Like if I'm watching TV and it's 5 feet away, is that reading glasses or is that my normal glasses?
Oh, so you're gonna have to have like far away glasses.
Yeah, I have both. I had to get both. So I could have put them on, but I don't like those little bifocal little stupid things that are on the bottom of the glasses or whatever. So I got 2 different pair. I got a reading set, what they're calling a reading set, and then I got like far away, like normal. The glasses I'm wearing all the time.
Yeah, see, I haven't hit that level yet. I'm sure I will shortly. I'm still at the reading glasses stage, but I'm sure at some point I'm going to start losing that kind of far away.
I have far. What is that called?
Farsighted.
Farsighted, but I also have astigmatism. So
Oh,
that's
okay.
why I need the reading glasses, because of astigmatism. And I guess my left eye is twice as bad as my right eye, or whatever. I have no idea. I just went, okay, what do I need? Yeah, he was showing me pictures and balloons and lights and letters.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Talking about criticism, though, it's
Anyway.
That's something I've always kind of had a problem with, like with friends, you know, because I spent most of my college career in writing classes and doing those, you know, critique groups, where if you don't have, you know, armor on when you're going in there, you know, you're not walking out of there without broken bones. I mean, like brutal stuff. And so for me,
I did
like
a couple of those, but a lot of it is not constructive. A lot of it is like you can
no,
a
absolutely.
lot of envy, a lot of jealousy, a lot of like just kind of bitterness that has nothing to do with you or your writing. It has to do with them and their lives and
Yeah.
whatever.
But there can also be a lot of clarity to it, and that's kind of one of my
pick up a lot of wisdom out of it.
Is if a lot of times people don't want to hear necessarily, you know, oh well, you know, it's page 15 and you haven't had your turning point yet. And it's like, well, I'm not doing that kind of typical screenplay. It's like, okay, well, that's fine, but you know, there's certain things that kind of have to be hit if you want it to be popular, kind of thing, you know?
Well, you can do it differently, but it just has to be really, really damn good. And the payoff.
Well,
I mean, that was why Tarantino had so many problems with Pulp Fiction, because he broke almost every rule there was to break in that, in the sense that he was jumping from Act 1 to Act 3 to Act 2 to Act 1 to Act 2 to Act 3 to Act 1, all out of order. And up until him, that was not allowed. No one had ever done it. That was like that. He had that script turned down 100 times because people were like, "You can't do that." Read the first 15 pages, and it's the first time he jumped from Act 1 to Act whatever, they were like, "Put it down," and we're like, "No, that's against the rules." So yeah, certain things you have to do, but you can bend them. You just have to do it with skill and have to have faith, and you can be innovative, but you better hope that payoff is worth the innovation.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So I hear you though, but that is though, when you're trying to be more edgy and trying to do your own thing, there is a norm for a reason. There is a format for a reason, because it works.
Well, it's story, and all story is. I mean, there's like, what would they say? There's like three different stories, something like that. You know, it's all the same, and story resonates with us on a deep, you know, psychic level, whether it's in a movie or in a poem or in a book or, you know, in a speech or what have you. If you can connect someone to your story, you've got them, you know. And stories have those elements, as you know, the hero's journey, you know, that Joseph Campbell talked about in Power of Myth. Steve Vogler,
Jungian advocate, I believe.
Yeah, well, and Stephen Vogler wrote a book on that. It's like The Power of Myth for Writers, or The Writer's Journey. That's what he called it. It was The Writer's Journey, and it's all about kind of the power of myth for that. And you see it all the time, you know, like the shark, and they've got like all the story breakdowns, but it all comes out to the, you know, same basic. You have a hero. They're called to go do something. You know, they've got the normal world. This is what the world is like every day. And then there's a change. Something happens to them.
Yeah, I mean, when I can't catch it with my story, though, my secret weapon is I pull out my sumo thong and I wear it and I do my sumo stomp. People are like captivated by that.
Yeah, you know what? That's the thing. Though. It's like, but where does that come from? Who gives you that sumo?
Well, I bought it from Walmart. My sumo thong. Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah, you know, but that's what I'm saying. Is it's like, so say that is like, okay, your movie, it's crazy, it's out there, it's wild. You got, you know, sumo thong, okay, but how you get sumo thong, right? and finally defeat your enemy by using sumo thong is you have like an old guy that was like, here, this, your father wore this back in the day when, you know, the kingdom was still around and now it's yours. You know, the Obi-Wan character, here's your lightsaber, you know, that kind of thing.
And then your secret tool is baby powder to stop the chafing from the sumo thong.
Right, but you find these things out, like, but that's the thing, is like that's part of the hero's journey, is finding out that in order to defeat this person, not only do I need the sumo thong, but I also need the baby powder, and I need the giant inflatable cock, and I need, you know, like I need these things, and I have to go out and find them, and I have to go out and travel the land and get into fights and win these prizes and put them all together before I return home.
Your new film that you're talking about, man? Sounds like a great film, man.
No, I don't, but it doesn't. That's what I'm saying. It's like it doesn't matter like what those elements are. Those are interchangeable. It's just you have that journey where you have to go out and you have to find those things.
Okay, you guys, this has been innovative, beautiful. You're both beautiful. You're both beautiful, talented spirits. We're going to take a 5-minute break, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to do our little, the other half of the show, which is basically bringing up stuff about life and talking about it. But I will tell you what we start off with every time in the second half of the show, and that is me asking you what film you've seen in the last couple of years that you thought was brilliant. That's where we will start when we will come back. But all those people watching and all you lovies at home, you have been watching StormCrow, Dreamers Talking to Dreamers. Keep dreaming. See you in 5. Say, see you in 5, Lola. See you in 5. Okay. You guys got a 5-minute break, and then, but don't get out the video meeting. start up again?
I'm right here.
Oh, okay.
On camera.
And we have, I have a great question on an article I read today, but I'll hit that after. And Mark, do you have your question?
Yep.
You can't repeat. Have you noticed, you guys, that Mark's the poison he was hit finally wearing off?
Poison?
Yeah, he was hit by a poison dart by a dwarf that was trying to kill him.
What?
After almost being run over with a giant bus that was driven by a bunch of sassy boys.
Okay, is there like
And then right after that,
ongoing
before that,
Dragon's Gate that I don't know about or what?
no, he actually had appendicitis earlier this appendix stigma.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And then he was attacked by a bunch of dwarf assassins. So he's had a hell of a week. Luckily, he had his lightsaber with him, and he took care of it.
When I was at Berkeley, there was this newspaper called the Heuristic Squelch, and one of their front page news items one time was that this place had been attacked by the Jamba Jews, and they were like these midget Hasidic Jews, the Jamba Jews. It's crazy.
It's a play off of Jamba Juice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so let's get going. Bring back the picture, Mark Carew.
We are live.
Okay, so we're going to start with Amy. What is the best film you've seen in the last few years and why?
It's between 3 movies, and 2 movies are actually, one's like they're together. And so I'll explain it. First was Black Panther blew me away, just story-wise, production value, but it was a great setup for the Avengers and that ending. That ending made that film. I've never seen a big budget. I know because there's sequels and everything, everybody's going to be back and nobody's dead. But that ending was so savage how they ended with like a bunch of major characters just gone off the face of the planet, like they die in the last few minutes of the movie. And
You're talking about Avengers now, though.
yeah, so it was like
So those two, Black Panther and Avengers.
Yes, and then
Black Panther has been the answer, like half of our shows.
But I want to add what this year's movie, hands down, my favorite movie of the year was Green Book. I liked it because it was such an uplifting message, and we live in such divisive times. It showed just, I thought it was amazing. I was so glad that the son who helped write the screenplay also won an Oscar, and it really moved me, and I couldn't stop talking about that movie me and Missy couldn't stop talking about that movie when we walked out of there.
I haven't seen it yet, so
I highly recommend it.
no, I haven't seen it yet. Everyone was talking about like it winning over Roma and the whole Netflix thing, but
you know what Missy said about Roma? She goes, nothing happens. It's about nothing. She was bored.
Well, everyone has said, I haven't seen Roma either, and everyone has said it was like a cinematographer's masturbation. It was like basically this guy going, I'm a great cinematographer, so I'm going to make an entire feature film that doesn't really have
plot.
Anything to it except me showing brilliant cinematography.
She said it
sounds like
that.
Malick.
The cinematography is brilliant. There's a lot of great.
Oh, I hate it. Ugh.
That sounds like Malick.
Yeah,
Terrence
I mean, there's
Malick.
other films that have done that. There's other films that have been visual things. I remember one in the 80s. I forget what it was, but my stepfather took it to me. Like, it took me to it maybe in like mid 80s, and literally all it was the whole film was just these different brilliant shots through a city. There was like no plot, no nothing. It was just basically 2 hour and a half of visual. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's not new. It's been done before, but I think the problem is that that, they did that specifically. They didn't even try to act like it was a film. Or put a plot or actors in it. They basically said, this is what it is, visual shots and stuff like that. The problem I think some had with Roma was that they portrayed it as a story and a movie and a film. And really what it was this guy going,
I'm a great cinematographer.
yeah, there you go. Hey, but it's kind of like bands I've seen, because I was in band for a long time. I was around bands for a long time. There were bands where like the lead was just a great guitarist, horrible singer, horrible lyricist, but was such a brilliant guitarist. He said, "Hey, I don't need no stinking singer or lyricist. All this that stuff doesn't matter. All that matters is I shred." So everyone's got some kind of issue with something. So I still will see probably both movies at some point, just so I have a point of reference when I'm talking to people,
Yeah.
or whatever. But Green Book would be more likely the one I will see.
I love that movie. I couldn't get
Yeah.
like the art of both characters. I mean, at the beginning,
The guy that likes to eat a lot. I remember that on the promos. He just was always.
yeah, he loves food. Yeah, but at the beginning of the film, they show how bigoted he is. Like, there's two black individuals who helped fix his sink, and his wife gave them a glass of water to drink, and he went in the kitchen and throws the glasses away. And over the course of 6 weeks in this car with this brilliant pianist and musician, played by Mahershala Ali, they have, it's amazing to watch both actors work, because both characters travel an arc, and they go from being like almost enemies to being that they've been utterly transformed by the other person being in their life just for this 6 weeks.
Here, I'll have to check it out. Now, Ethan, what about you? What's the best film you've seen in the last 2 years?
So I kind of quit watching new release stuff. Most of
whatever film you've seen.
So most of my film watching is kind of older stuff. Recently, I've been kind of going back to the beginning. D.W. Griffith, Eisenstein, all that kind of stuff. I discovered a movie called A Touch of Evil. If you're familiar with it, Orson Welles.
No,
like,
but I've seen it when I was a kid. I watched a lot of that stuff when I was a kid.
Yeah, so it was 1950s. It was like Orson Welles' last film. And he had it all shot, and he had a rough cut, and he got fired. And they brought in a new director to finish the movie. And he left like this 96-page notes. This is what should happen in the movie. This is what ought to be done. And some of it they did, a lot of it they didn't. They released the movie the way they did it with this other director. And then like 70s to 80s, something like that, they found all these notes that Orson Welles had made. And so they recut the movie to Orson Welles.
Oh,
and
they had access to the raw footage?
Yeah. So the Orson Welles like intended cut of A Touch of Evil it's incredible. It's probably it's the culmination of one of film's greatest directors, like his vision right there. It's fantastic.
Well, I'll have to check it out, man. A Touch of Evil by Orson Welles.
Yeah.
Sure. Amazing. Okay, so I'm going to go on to the next thing. Okay, I read an article, was it last night? Because my phone like will throw me major news stories or whatever. Like probably like every 2 hours, it'll pop up main stories. A lot of them are stupid, like Kardashian or Hollywood.
Oh God.
Care about. But some of them are really poignant things that are going on, either the political world or some social economic thing. And I was amazed that there was a circuit judge, a court judge, that decided that people could sue the gun manufacturer from Sandy Hook. That he made a decision that the person that made the gun that guy used to kill a bunch of people, that they could now, the injured families could sue the gun manufacturer. Now, I don't think that's judgment is going to stand in court at all. I think it's the next step, and they're going to ixnay it.
I mean, all he's doing is saying, yeah, you can bring the suit. It's not saying that the suit necessarily is going to get decided in their favor.
No, but I mean, but still, that's like saying some guy gets in a car and decides to run 100 people over, and now you're telling the people that they can sue the manufacturers of the car, man. I mean, I'm like that's to me, it came across as a total political statement. It came across as like that judge or whoever that judge trying to be political and bring up some bash against the NRA and guns and all that stuff. But I just thought it was the whole thing was a political farce, and I just couldn't even believe that some judge did that. It was like so unprecedented, and if it went through, would create so much hellish nightmares in so many different realms and levels that now I'm all for people being accountable, but like I was like going that's a ridiculous statement. I don't know. Let's start with you, Amy. What do you think of a judge doing that and making that decision?
Well, I look at it through the prism of someone like me who has bipolar disorder. I don't know. I don't think that's the right way to go. I think you come down to, I don't think for me, because of my mood swings, like recently I was very suicidal and could have made a very permanent decision based on a very temporary feeling, because by the end of the day, I was angry. I was just really mad. And I don't know, I think I'm underselling what that rage is like, because it's like, it's terrible. But
this is what we were talking about earlier, is like, instead of fixing the problem, like i.e. providing free counseling.
Yes, I think that's
counseling
that's a
to
smart
people
way
going
to go.
through mental issues, which would put a lot of because most of these killings and all this kind of stuff we're having heavy mental issues.
There's a percentage that involves mental illness, and then sometimes it comes down to someone who is isolated and someone who has rage.
And who has no vehicle with which to deal with it. It has no counseling they could go to,
no. And
thing.
I think the scary part is when you don't address, I think free counseling. I think counseling should be made available to everybody free of charge who needs it, because it would go a long way to solving a lot of these problems.
Yeah, from violence to drug addiction
maybe,
to all sorts of things.
The judge is trying to make a statement, but I think it would have been different if he could have made more of a statement about the mental health. Because
it smacks as political. The guy is making it political.
Yeah, well, a lot of judges are doing that these days on different issues. And I agree with you. I think it'll go the next step up and it'll get thrown out, because but
it'll have accomplished what he was probably trying to accomplish, which is giving a tool for some politician to go hammer at the NRA and gun rights and all that kind of stuff. So, but still, they're utilizing a traumatic, emotional thing that devastated endless families as a political tool, and I literally find that disgusting.
Well,
and they did the same
not
thing.
The only one. Like when they
putting all the kids all over TV to try to use them as.
Well, what disgusts me is when there is a shooting And the first thing out of there they lead with is, oh, this person has bipolar disorder. Like it's not, it's like that's the one thing they lead with, and then they hammer on it, and the effect of that is painting a lot of 6 million people in America alone have bipolar disorder. 6 million people do not walk in to a place and shoot it up. There are a lot of factors, and when you paint everybody with that broad brush, it does a disservice. You know, you don't hear them talking about, oh, we should, you know, in the aftermath of it, there's never really any talk about let's move some legislation to like do free mental health care.
Because that costs money, and they're not about spending money, they're about making money.
Yeah, well, yeah. But like things like this are the reason that pushed me to make the feature film. I tried to pitch it and sell it to people, and they would all say, I need this amount of time, and if I'm going to do it right, and oh, I don't have the wherewithal to do it. I love the script, and I want to do something with mental health with you, but I don't want to do this. And so finally I said, forget all y'all. You don't want to do it, I'll do it. And it set me on the path to making documentaries, and a lot of my documentaries have to do with mental health. And
yeah, but you're doing it as a way to not only express your own turmoil and challenges you've dealt with, but also to help others that are with those turmoils and challenges.
Like stuff like when it comes up in the news like this, I don't like the way it gets portrayed. Like
well, because it's always a political angle. It's always a salesman's angle. It's never about. I miss the days of like the Walter Cronkite when news media was for nonprofit. Like every studio was not allowed to make profit off of their newsroom. You know what I mean? It was like it had to be like rules in place. Everything had to be truth checked, fact checked, and it was all trying to be impartial, regardless of your personal thing, because there was no profit. Your newsrooms were not allowed to make profit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my therapist.
Nowadays, it's just all like misinformation, twisted information, some kind of angled information to promote some agenda or whatever it is.
I just don't want local news. I can handle, but the
World
Fox,
news,
world
CNN,
news like Fox, CNN, MSNBC are anxiety generators for me, and I suffer from anxiety. It's like the parting gift that bipolar gave me. I have anxiety, and if I watch it, it will affect me. Like
yeah, I try to stay. Besides my phone giving me those little news reports, I don't really watch news. So, but let's get back to Ethan. What was your opinion on this decision?
My opinion on the decision. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously political. I think that we're at an interesting point in our evolution as a civilization right now. The average civilization lasts 200 years, and we're at 243 this year. So we're already 43 years beyond what the average civilization exists as.
Well, I don't know if that's true.
Back in
France and Germany and all of them are older than us.
No, yeah, but yes and no. So you've got to figure out what government, right? Because if you look at France less than 200 years ago had a revolution where they killed all their royalty.
Yeah.
That's a change. That's a change in government, right? That's a change in civilization. They may call it the same place, but the government's changed, right? So back in 1776, this guy Andrew Tytler, a Scotsman, wrote this book called the
I like Scotsman.
The Decline and Fall of the Athenian Republic and Ages of a Civilization. So according to Tytler, we are actually in stage 8, which is the dependence stage. And you can see that in the news by the turn to socialism and the turn toward more government, more laws, more legislation. Every law that gets written, that has to be backed up with force. That is, the threat of force to enforce that law. So every law you write, that's a gun in somebody's hand to make sure that somebody doesn't break that law. Down in the law, because somebody's got to enforce that. They're already talking about coming and taking guns, which, regardless of your stance on that, it would be a really big bloody process, because there's like 10 guns per person here in the United States, and most people aren't going to give them up willingly. I mean, you're talking about civil war. So that the idea that the government needs to take care of me, the government owes me health care. What is health care? Health care is eating the apple, not the Snickers bar. That's health care. What they're talking about is health management.
Industrialized nation besides the U.S. provides health care, man.
Yeah. But what we're talking about here is health management, right? Like, if you go into a doctor and you've got, say, acid reflux in your stomach, they're going to give you a pill that's going to make your acid go away, right? That's not going to make the problem go away. That's going to make
that's a dietary thing, yeah.
Yeah, you got to change your diet. You got to exercise. You got to do something about that. And if they just give you a pill, they're just managing, right? They want to give you a pill and they want to manage that all the way up until you die, because they want you to be a customer for that drug company until the day you die. That's what that is. And
other
if you can bring the government into that, so like I've got a customer till the day they die, and somebody to pay for that till the day they die. And me as a consumer, I'm like, well, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to change my diet. I just got to take that pill and the government's going to pay for it. That sounds like healthcare to me.
Yeah, but here's the other side of that, Ethan. I had a hernia for like a year and a half, 2 years. I didn't have money. I didn't have insurance. I went into emergency rooms. I went into not one person. That is the easiest thing to diagnose for a doctor.
Surgical procedure.
Yeah,
I firmly.
They kept not.
Here's my healthcare stance. As a former EMT and as somebody who worked in hospitals for years, here's my stance on healthcare. Okay, all traumatic injuries, all surgeries, broken bones being set, all of that covered for everybody. Period.
Well, I agree.
But if you go, but listen to me now. Listen here. If you go out and you eat, drink 2 gallons of Mountain Dew every day and eat Snickers bars and ice cream and go out and get diabetes, that's on you. That's on you. That's the way I look at it.
I agree, but I agree with your sentiment, but we're not at that right now. Like, these hospitals don't diagnose, because county hospitals get a ton of money from the government to supposedly help people that are uninsured. But the caveat is that they don't diagnose it. They don't have to do anything.
Yeah. One of the doctors I worked with, one of his favorite jokes was, the difference between a doctor that got straight A's in college and a doctor that got C's in college? Nothing. They're both doctors.
They're what?
They're both doctors.
Oh, yeah.
Right? There's no difference.
So what I'm saying is, like literally, I was like peeing like a 90-year-old and can barely walk by the time my hernia, basically my intestines had all dropped out of my stomach lining and were wrapping around my organs. And it was only a Christian doctor who my mom happened to know, who she explained my story to, that he told me to come down and he was going to look at me. That night, he threw me into emergency surgery because he was a bigwig at a hospital, and he told and he wanted to F off. Told all the hospital whatever, because he was their best surgeon, and
board of directors
pissed him off. And so he told them, "Go away. I'm going to do surgery on this guy, regardless of whether you want me to or not." And he said it was one of the worst hernias he had seen, and it could have killed me because it was trying to wrap around all my my liver, my organs, my.
And you'd been going to government medical.
Yeah, I had gone to every county hospital. I even called the state number where when you've exhausted every other thing, they're supposed to find you some program that'll help you, and they couldn't find any of me because I was 35-year-old white male.
Yeah, I'm VA health, so I've got government health care. And before that, like back when I was living in Santa Ana, down in Southern California, there's that the health clinic down there. I used to go to health clinic, free clinic, right? Because that's what I could afford at the time. But government healthcare is crap, and people want that. They're like clamoring for single payer government healthcare, and it's like, you don't understand. Like, I went to the ER. I waited 10 hours in an ER. 10 hours. Crazy.
And then you get
healthcare. With mental health.
What's that?
With mental health care, I didn't like develop it. Genetically, I was predispositioned to it. Right. And I understand big pharma is bad in that they are existing to pilfer your pockets. But those medicines, if I didn't take them, I know where I was 20 years ago with my initial diagnosis. They gave it to me, and they aren't a panacea. It's like a lot of different things you have to do. But right. And if someone could come in and bust down big pharma, I don't think all meds are bad. I think some meds are needed. And for me, mental health care, I have to have government health care because I can't, if I tried to work a regular job after my diagnosis, I tried several times to work a day job, and every time it was like I was symptomatic, and it was hell. So when I came Texas, for me back then was like, the good thing about Texas mental health care at that time, that was in 1999. If you were indigent, they provided you your medication free of charge.
Right.
But then I moved back to Kentucky, and the healthcare was better here. And Medicare, even though it's not great, because I qualify,
it's still better than nothing.
It's better than nothing.
Yeah.
I have it's called Centerstone. It was 7 counties of Kentucky forever, but it's recently changed to Centerstone. And I have therapists and a psychiatrist, and they work hand in hand. And things that can help me are dietary, like certain foods, but I still have to have those medicines as a base because they control my mania. And do I wish people ask me all the time, do I want a pill that would cure it? Well, first of all, like you had just expressed, big pharma is not in the business of curing diseases. They're in the business of making you be able to live with it. But if they did, I don't know. There's a lot of things I'm able to do. Some people say you're creative because you have a bipolar disorder, or it lends itself to it. I don't know, because I've had this disease for so long, I don't really know where the disease ends and Amy starts. But but at the same time, I'm not my disease. That's just a part of who I am. And because I've had the benefit of in that government insurance, I've gone from someone who couldn't even get herself out of the bed in the morning and take a shower to someone who travels to Las Vegas and those sights and sounds, I'm sensitive to that, but I'm able to function, and I'm able to do more now than I was 20 years ago. But I just think there has to be something, and it would help if medicines weren't so expensive.
Yeah,
They're not.
the
I'm
part
curious.
that's ridiculous though, because those same pharmacies are the same pharmaceutical companies, the same companies that sell to Europe, that sell to Canada for 1/10 the price.
Yeah. I'm
Well,
curious, Amy, did you spend much time like outdoors?
Yes, I exercise. I walk every day.
No, but I
think
mean,
like wilderness, stuff like that.
like in the wilderness, like away from civilization. Because I kind of there's this kind of Australian Aboriginal saying that says we're all about 3 days out. And the meaning that if we get away from that civilization, that constant buzz of everybody around us, out into nature where it's quiet and we can just hear ourselves think for about 3 days, by day 4, we're kind of like into our own circadian rhythms. And kind of, once I kind of have this theory that once we kind of figure out our rhythm and live life at our rhythm, and I know you had mentioned diet, those kind of things. And I was just curious if you had done anything with that and how that affects overall mood.
The best way to explain it is that the pills are the base, and then all these other things with it help me stay stable. And
But he's asking if you ever go camping or.
Yeah. Oh, I've been camping. Yeah. Yeah.
And like
I grew up in the
like
South.
when you get away for a while, do you feel calmer? Do you feel,
I usually go stir crazy.
I don't know how. Really?
Yeah. And that's just,
I go stir crazy when I camp because I'm not in an area where I can buy more sumo thongs.
That's bad.
Yeah.
It would be a better world if we could just buy sumo thong.
Yeah, it is, man. Yeah. Baby powder. Sumo thongs.
See, for me, I kind of go out specifically looking for that kind of confrontation with that uncomfortableness. Like that's kind of like me, my soul, like rubbing against itself, away from the world. And I'm kind of like, whoa, what is this?
You were I think that you really needed it, Ethan, because when I knew you, you were kind of burning the candle at both ends for a while. You were like really intense. Because you didn't have a lot of you had a lot of beautiful positive attributes, but you didn't have a great ability to say no to yourself in a lot of things.
No. I was a bacchanalian for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm sure that the nature thing probably helped you out tremendously.
But I would like to say this: if people went to a more alternative medicine than the Eastern world medicine, where it was nothing but natural remedies that you could cure yourself, and all you had to do to go to Western medicine was what Ethan had said: trauma, anything that could not be fixed by alternative medicine, and that's what I've always agreed with, is that everybody had a medicine cabinet that was full of natural stuff that they would have taken because of all the nutrition and value that those natural products had.
For example, like my mom, and I was having the same issues years before. She didn't know that, but she was saying for like years she'd been having leg cramps when she sleeps and stuff like that. And these doctors kept giving her different drugs. And none of it was working. And I had this same issue before. I went and bought her a bottle of B12.
Mm-hmm.
Had her start taking B12. Within 2 days, she was no longer getting leg cramps. After like a year and a half, 2 years of the doctor giving her all this pharmaceutical.
Because I mean,
I use Eastern medicine too. When I have difficulty sleeping, I'll take low doses of melatonin.
Mm-hmm.
And my therapist and psychiatrist both recommended that. My psychiatrist tries, when I used to be on a lot more meds than I am now. And my psychiatrist streamlined me, got me down to as low a dose as he could get me without me going into a mania or a depression.
Yeah, and Amy, just to clarify, I don't think they were talking about all of that in reference to you or your challenges. I think they were just talking about that in general to what we work on, which is like medicine for all and all that.
Yeah,
Just
because
they were talking about all that in correlation to your challenges. I think they were just saying in general what they would like to see in the medical field is probably more natural herb.
yeah,
And then
I'd rather see somebody go to a naturopath than an MD to start with.
A homeopath, yeah.
yep.
Yeah, homeopath, naturopath, yeah.
Yeah, because I think that there are a lot of bountiful natural herbs that are way better for you and way more successful.
Some sort of holistic practitioner.
Yeah, but the problem is nowadays not all doctors, some doctors buck against their own rule system to do the right thing, and there are beautiful spirits that are doctors that buck the system and don't follow rules if it's not for the best of the patient, and will suggest herbal stuff and will suggest those things. But the problem is doctors are not supposed to suggest anything that's not FDA approved.
Right.
FDA does not will not ever approve vitamins, natural herbs, stuff like that, because they can't control it. They can't control the money side of it.
Yeah.
Like even vitamins that they know are natural herbs that they know are that do wonders and work wonders.
Oh yeah. Well, they came out like a few years ago and flat out said that the only thing that can cure disease is a drug. They have that like in their guidelines. The only thing that can cure disease is a drug. So if you say anything like St. John's wort can cure blah blah blah, no, it can't. It's not a drug.
It's not
even if it does.
Because the thing is if you say this thing would work, an FDA or that wort, anybody could sell that. Anybody could the root. They could go and get the root and take it.
Right. You can grow it yourself.
That's the problem.
Yeah, it is.
It's about money in the end. It's about money. Like right now, I'm trying this new vitamin I've just heard wonders about. We'll see. It's only my second day, but COQ10, and it's an all natural vitamin. But it's mainly meant for
COQ10
and cardiovascular, and but it's also had all these other benefits known for it, like like your muscles and your clarity of thought and your libido.
Well, it's called COQ10. So
yeah, there you go.
But
I mean, there's a bunch of like I just started taking that on the last day, and then I take B12, and then I take multivitamin, and then I take this other one that's all like 8 of the most natural, 8 different herbs from around the world. They're all good for your lungs and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's about all I take, and that's because in Texas there's so much ragweed and all that crap, man. And you should know this, Amy. There's like literally so much stuff in the air in Texas from all the.
Yes, I lived in San Antonio for a year.
Yeah, it's one of the worst for like. I mean, everyone I know that moved from somewhere else here has sinus issues, and
I live in Kentucky in the Ohio Valley. Sinus issues. They have something called the Ohio Valley crud, and all kinds of allergies.
My family's from Mount Sterling.
Oh wow!
So yeah, I mean, so ever since I started taking this herbal stuff for lungs and stuff like that, it's helped out a lot, sinuses or whatever. So yes, I agree with you all. I think everyone should go first to a homeopathic doctor. I think that is much more of a productive choice. And then Western medicine if they broke an arm or require surgery or stuff along those lines. But you guys, this has been amazing. So I'm going to do one more thing before we head out. Because right at 11 o'clock, Division 2 drops, Tom Clancy's Division 2, and I'm going to be playing it. right, so we're gonna do one last thing. First of all, I want to thank both guests, Amy and Ethan. They're both brilliant spirits, both talented spirits. Mark, the next few days, will re-edit this video and put ways of some kind of link or whatever, ways of contacting either one if you want to support them and what they're doing. But first of all, right before we go, though, I want you to do something I haven't done for a couple episodes, but I like doing it, and so I'll do it again. I'm going to have each one of you talk as if you were talking to a young you and giving them advice.
Oh, wow.
And we will start with Ethan on this one, and then we'll end with Amy.
So a young me, I would save money. Put 10% of every paycheck into a bank. Forget about it. Pretend that account's not even there. By the time you're my age, you'll be a multimillionaire.
Yeah, that's a hard one, though, man, because people live
Compound interest, man.
Unless you make good money, people tend to live by their means.
No, seriously, like there was a guy, he was a postal worker, and he put like 10% of his paycheck away every check for like 35 years, and he had like $14 million. If you start early, it blows my mind. I wish they would teach this stuff in school. They teach you algebra. You're never going to use it. If they taught you like home finance, how to balance a checkbook, or how compound interest works, or don't go into debt, don't pay somebody else 23% interest.
Real living,
when you can
reality
take that
living.
money and earn your own interest.
Reality economics.
Yeah, real life stuff. You know, Dave Ramsey. If you haven't read Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace, it'll change your life. I try to get kids, any kids that are in my life, you know, my nieces, nephews, whatever. Read this book. Read this. Don't ever go into debt. Don't go into debt for college. Work your way through school. Stay out of debt. Go be a plumber. You know, learn a trade. Be an HVAC repairman. Go to night school if you want something more. Right? Work your way through it. Don't you take out loans, you're in somebody else's pocket for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
That's what I would tell a young me.
And that's good advice. Save 10% of every paycheck.
Pay yourself.
Put it in an account. Mark, so you're young enough now, you need to start doing that now. Buying lightsabers.
Oh, I spend it on business stuff.
Quit buying Star Wars t-shirts.
Hey, I can't help it.
That's a great shirt. Don't let him talk you out
Right?
of those.
Okay, Amy, now
I
you.
wish that I would have worn my Millennium Falcon shirt.
We'd be matching.
Hey, I'm gonna make a shirt that says, "If you're nice to me" on the front, and on the back it'll say, "I'll show you my +5 Holy Avenger Vorpal sword."
Oh my god.
All right.
You gotta wear that. You gotta wear that first day.
That I could have like such genius ideas. I know.
You gotta wear that on first day of Blade and Blood.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep. Because people want to see my +5 Holy Avenger Vorpal sword. Yes, I know. Anyway, Amy, what is your and for all you out there that is not just some phallic origin, it's actually a Dungeons and Dragons like weapon of like legend.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Amy, so what would your advice be to a young you?
Okay, so I guess I would tell her, I know it's not a good world for you right now. Your biological father is abusing you, and at school you're bullied, and you're going to get real sick in your 20s, but to hang on and just keep your head down and keep putting one foot in front of the other, because it's going to it's going to get better. It's going to get a whole lot better.
So to have hope and faith.
Yeah.
That's always good advice to everybody.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I want you guys to know this has been an amazing show. It's been a wonderful show. I thank you for being a beautiful spirit and a talented spirit. Ethan, I thank you, even with that beard. I thank you. He looks like he just came out of. You need a bear now, and you need a bear, like a grizzly behind you. I think with that beard, man. You got to then you
he's right here.
like it's never been done. Like
Yeah,
a
Ben.
TV show that's never been done about a man with a big beard and a bear. And you know what? I have an amazing idea for a title. We'll call it
Grizzly Adams. Look at that.
Oh my God! These original thoughts I'm having are they just shocking? I'm telling you.
Hey, we could do a remake.
I want to thank my co-host Mark. Come here, Lola. And then, of course, Lola. But you've been watching episode 14 with Amy McCorkle, with Ethan Rogers, with Mark Potter, even after the dwarf poison, appendicitis, almost being run over by a bus, he still made it. And then, and then my name is JD, and maybe not next episode, but the one after that, I will be wearing glasses. I will be joining the rest of society and wearing glasses. But anyway, you guys, thank you all. Love you all. Big blessings to everybody out there. You have been watching StormCrow, Dreamers Talking to Dreamers. And as always, every time, every step of the way, all through your life, keep dreaming.